Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel for a war video, and believe me, I am just as surprised as you are. So I was asked if I wanted to get half a season in for rewards, and I said sure, why not? So here we are, taking on Noob. We got 8 fights today, so let's jump right in. Welcome to the Roughnecks.
Rico's Roughnecks!
Alright, so for the rest of the season, pretty much I'm going to be on Path 1 in both Section 1 and Section 2. Our first fight here is against this Dr. Voodoo on Arc Overload and Vigorous Assault. So Voodoo has the regen buff, of course, so he's going to be unblockable for a pretty good portion of this fight at the start. So basically the start of this fight is really about just nailing that first intercept, as you can see. Once I do that, I can basically just tap into his block enough, and then once I've got his special attacks going, I can kind of cycle his power that way. So I can, back off, or I can try for another intercept if I want to. There we go. But once I've kind of gotten him up to, a bar and a half, almost 2 bars of power, then it becomes easy to bait a special attack, punish the special attack, and then punishing that special attack will take him over a bar of power, as you can see here, and then we can kind of go on. I did get extra lucky with the 2 Petrifies up right away, so I am reversing this Arc Overload that pops up right here, and then plus the extra debuffs given the Despair Mastery will help that along as well. This is a pretty clean fight, pretty good for my first fight back. Gold bar finish, so pretty happy with that. All right, moving right along, we've got a Sparky on Masochism and Indomitable. I'm gonna go in here with Nick. I do make a kind of silly mistake here early on, and I end up firing his special one, or firing my special one into Sparky, and I thought I had him stunned, but the stun wore off at like the very last possible second. And then I get clipped on a Snap Light, it looks like there. But it doesn't really matter because at this point I have more than 5 tack charges, and he's not going to be evading for the rest of the fight. And the bonus is that Sparky's health pool is so low that it's only like, 20, 25, 30 hits to get him down. Alright, so this is my first experience with High Ground, which is pretty much a load of garbage. So this is a rogue. I make a stupid mistake right here at the start and get parried. Definitely underestimated the combination of Max Limber and Rogue's natural debuff duration reduction. So that was a pretty dumb mistake. In terms of like High Ground here, like you can't really in this fight in particular. It's kind of hard to work with High Ground and with the Strike Counter Fury node. So I kind of end up just ignoring Strike Counter Fury. And you'll see like the altitude charges from High Ground, they build up like really fast. And I think, so here's my second mistake. I thought that heavy would snap to her. It didn't. I got parried for a second time. Luckily my health pool is gigantic, so I'm not too worried about it. But again, like the altitude charges, you can see, they build up every 10 seconds, and I feel like it is, unless you have insanely aggressive AI, you're not going to be getting 10 hits every 10 seconds. So, eventually this energy damage that is going to get you on your block is just going to build up to like stupid levels. So, my alliance mates, they basically told me, you can try and play the fight like you're playing against a Void, or you can just, boost up and take a really solid counter or a high damage champion and just, end the fight before the altitude charges really become an issue. So I kind of did not take that advice here, of course, because I'm using Void, one of the slower champions. But, we got the fight down. Kind of learned from that experience for sure. Alright, moving up, we've got a shared mini on the left side. This is a Sorcerer Supreme. She's on EMP mod and a couple of other nodes that depend on buffs, so we're bringing in Red Guardian. This is the only fight I'm going to use Red Guardian for in this war. She also has Aspect of Evolution, which increases her power rate per every bar of power filled. And I think it only affects her combat power rate, which is reduced anyways. And she's being pretty cooperative. There's only one point in this fight where I was actually worried that she was going to tag me with a special 3, but other than that, she's being super helpful. I know I'm triggering regen on her block there, but it was important to me to kind of keep her as far to the right of the screen as possible. I definitely did not want to get cornered or pushed back at all on my side of the screen. So we're trying to build up to the special 2 here. We're going to bait out this special 2, and then we're going to tag her with the big special 2 of our own. So this is the point where I'm like, is she going to throw it? Is she not going to throw it? And I'm preparing myself to take a special 3 and my first death, but thankfully she doesn't. She throws the special 2. We get the special 2 off. We get a buttload of damage in there. We get 1 heavy off before the stun wears off, and the fight is pretty much under control at this point. I've got some armor breaks on me to heal me up, but it really doesn't matter because I'm not going to be using Red Guardian at all for the rest of the war. And I don't think we triggered full-on Bubble Shield once. We got 9 charges there, so she didn't go unblockable at all. And there we go. Fight over. Pretty good. All right, next up we've got a Guillotine on Vigor and Outlast. So gonna again go in with Void here. So we are boosting up for a second time, which is, not one of my favorite things to do, but I felt like I needed to be prepared. So we're going to land a heavy at the start of the fight here to disable her invisibility. And that's really going to be the name of the game in this fight, is kind of keep one eye on that invisibility timer, and as soon as she is about to have it available again, have the knockdown to disable it. So right there I kind of timed the special 1 on purpose. I slowed down my combo so that I could knock her down right as the timer came back. Had some trouble baiting out this special 2 for a couple seconds. Taking a little bit of damage there from Willpower and the Spectre debuff, but not a big deal. Another parry heavy disables the invisibility. I successfully did not get tagged by that special 1, which is something that I am prone to doing whenever I fight a Guillotine 2099. So, and at this point, again, we've kind of got the fight under control. We've got the Petrifies up, so the Vigor node, if it's going to trigger, is going to degen her instead of heal her up. And I was a little early on the heavy there. There I did get tagged by the special 1. See, I knew it was going to happen. And but the fight is pretty much over, so it's just going to cost me another potion or 2. Moving right along. All right, we've got a Mr. Fantastic on Buffet Indomitable. I'm going to go with Nick Fury here because I really didn't want to wait for Void's evade counter to be up. And I figured, similar to the Sparky fight, if I took a few hits from Mr. Fantastic, who is only an R2 6-star in this fight, the attack charges would just cancel out his evade for the rest of the fight. And that's pretty much exactly what happens here. So I do get 4 attack charges up. And then I think he tags me. My parry fails. There we go. And he combos me, but now my charges are above 5, so he's not going to evade the rest of the fight. Heal back a little bit of that health from Willpower and the taunt debuff there, but the fight is already well under control here. Hit him with that light bleed, and the special 2 pretty much is game over for Reed Richards. Okie dokie, moving on again. This is a Doom on Strike Counter, Combat Power Rate, and Buffet and Chitinous Thorns. Chitinous Thorns we don't have to worry about here because Doom does not have an armor up buff. So we really just have to worry about Buffet and the Strike Counter, Combat Power Rate. So with Void on this particular fight, I will try and play around the Strike Counter node at least until I get the Petrifies up, because then at that point I don't really need to keep using my specials. I'll have significant uptime of a heal block, especially when Fear of the Void comes up, and then the buffs can appear naturally, and we'll start reversing that Buffet. But as long as I can keep that Buffet healing to 0 or below, I'm pretty good. Mistime that special 1, I still do that sometimes, and then I take a nice short combo there. So not the cleanest gameplay for sure, but we got 1 Petrify up, so we're doing pretty good here. There's a heavy to combat that node. We've only got 1 of the passives on us from the node so far. There's our second Petrify, so the Buffet damage is now no longer a problem. We're going to dodge this special 2 here. And then we're pretty much the fight is over at this point. So Fear the Void about to kick in right there. At this point, I have decided to stop worrying about the node and just try and do the remaining damage as fast as possible. Just letting him degen down the last few ticks here. Down he goes, and we are moving on to our final fight, which is the Dragon Man mini on Rage 2.5 Extend and Return policy. So since Dragon Man is stunnable on this node, the only really thing I have to worry about is properly managing that power charge. So either parrying him or letting him hit into my block with that special 1. And once the Petrifies are up, the fight is pretty much over. The only thing I was a bit concerned about is I was still boosted at this point, so I wasn't sure if I should have waited until my boosts wore off. I did a couple test fights to see if Void's attacks boosted were going to trigger Rage. His basic attacks still were not going to trigger it. His special attacks, if they crit, they do have a chance. You see we already triggered one Fury buff from that first special one, so I was pretty confident that we were going to be able to get through this fight without triggering enough rage stacks to make him go fully unblockable for the rest of the fight. This is not a champion that I would put on this node as a defender. Dragonman's health pool I think is fairly large, especially as a rank 3. So there are, unless you're using a very high damage champion, I'm not really sure where you're going to trigger rage on this fight. So, and I don't know if we get up to 3 stacks of Fury or not. We're at 2 right now, but again, we've got Fear the Void and Petrify up, so his power is declining, whenever he has that power charge up. Just blocking this special too, of course, no need to get tricky with it, and down he goes. And that's my first war with Rico's Roughnecks. We did go on to win, so my season stats so far, 8 kills, 0 deaths, and actually our alliance was coming into this war undefeated, so I felt really good that I didn't come in after many seasons off and cause us to lose our first war of the season. So if you guys like this, I'll probably be filming the rest of my wars this season and uploading them. Give me a like if you enjoyed this, sub if you haven't already, and keep on the lookout for more stuff later. And as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.